I'm Elizabeth Wing, and I'm a reading teacher at Berkshire Junior Senior High School in Canaan, New York. Well, I invited the 7th graders.
In the entire school?
Yes,
right?
in the entire school.
Okay.
I made sure, I looked through all the lists, made sure these were all the 7th graders we had.
Sure.
And I said, would you like to write poetry for this contest? And they were very enthusiastic.
Okay. That surprised you?
Yes. It did. But the winner, Roy in particular, was right away he started what they call spitting. He likes to rap.
Okay.
So right away he started rapping, he wrote it down, he revised it. The other student did more free-form type of stuff, and he wrote a lot of different poems.
Both students?
Both students.
Wow.
You know,
Did that surprise you?
Yes, that also surprised me. They were very enthused. Well, they wanted, I think that the idea, it was early in the year, it was early enough in the year that they still had good momentum, and they wanted to win something. When it came to giving them examples, for instance, I started with that. They just said, oh, I know what I want to do. Yeah, the students were very interested in the unit on bullying. They were engaged. They wrote poems, made posters, and you could tell that it was something that was very important to them. And they didn't seem to have any qualms at all about making these posters. And that partly is the teacher. She's retiring this year. An amazing teacher. One of the other things that the kids enjoy was writing for the yearbook. So I have a lot of their poetry in the yearbook.
Great.
And the political, we got stuff that was political. We got stuff that was personal. We got stuff that was, just again based on something that was part of an exercise for class, but they wanted it to be in the yearbook. So that was really exciting. The kids I asked them, I saw the poem up on the wall, and I said, is it all right if I put it in the yearbook? And all of them were very pleased that their work was going to be in there.
Yeah.
Now, this is something I try to communicate with my students, about the power of language and how we can read a poem from decades or even centuries ago and are able to connect because the person has, first of all, they wrote it down, and that lends it immortality. And that's why I try to say to these students, your words have power.
Excellent, excellent. You're a great teacher, I can tell. I can tell.
I usually see looks on their faces sometimes when I'm getting going and I'm talking about, why do we know what Winston Churchill thought? Well, because he wrote it down. And I'm able to quote these things to them. And we're able to use that in a lot of contexts. We have a class called Social Emotional Learning, and today we were talking about resiliency. And I said, Winston Churchill said, when you're going through hell, keep going. And just having that basis of the power of language and sharing it in so many venues, I should say you definitely should sign up and carve out time in your schedule so that the students, first of all, have the opportunity to explore poetry as a way of communicating. Secondly, to study the forms. And thirdly, to share their voice. In many ways, kids who have trouble writing a paragraph or an essay have no trouble at all writing a poem because there's more freedom there. And like, for instance, one of my students, one of the contributions to the poetry contest for the recognition day, when he wrote the poem I was talking about, we were doing the editing, and I said, these vernacular mistakes, do you want to leave that in the vernacular or do you want to change it to standard English? And he made that decision to leave it as vernacular. And then I said, put a note on there so the judges understand that that you made a conscious decision to keep it in this language, so that they realize that you had a choice and you made this choice. This is the author's choice.